So welcome everybody for our junior parent chat, I guess we're calling it. And we're very excited to have Sarah Robinson and Matt Zaveda here. Matt Zaveda back with us, but Sarah here with us for the first time this year to talk with us about everything we need to know to be ready for our juniors this year. And it's a busy year this year for our students that are juniors. So very happy to have Sarah here and Matt here to help kind of give us all the information we need in order to feel confident that we're on top of things when it comes to our juniors, because Lord knows we can't necessarily rely on them telling us everything that we need to know. So thank you so much to our guest speakers for being here tonight to help us out. We really appreciate it, particularly given that you did a pretty robust presentation just last Thursday as well. So we greatly appreciate your willingness to come back and share this with us all too. So with that, I'm going to just turn it over to Sarah.
Okay, so thanks so much for having me tonight. I'm Sarah Robinson, one of the school counselors at Homestead, and I am here to guide you through the process of how can you support your junior in this really important school year. Okay, so my presentation is not moving me forward. Let me exit. This happens sometimes when we are in Google, and I'm going to pull up something else here quick. And can you see that? No.
Can't see it yet.
Okay, let me try this very quickly. I'm shifting into a different presentation. Can you see that?
Yep.
Okay. Is it big or little?
It's big.
Okay. And it's still not letting me share.
Okay. Well, do you want me to just go ahead and pull it up?
Sure. That would be great. I'm gonna go down here. I don't know if that sometimes does that.
All right. It looks like it's working now. Do you want to try?
Sure. Why can't I go to slideshow and advance it though? It's not letting me do that. Okay, so maybe you can see it if I'm just in this lens right here.
It was advancing it on our side. We could see you moving, flipping through the pages, but this is, I'm okay with this if everyone else can see it okay.
This have to be fine because when I advance it, it doesn't advance on my screen, so I can't speak to it.
Yeah.
Okay, so thanks for being patient. I guess one of the number one things that I can share with you in terms of our counseling department is that we are here to help your students with academic advising, career exploration, college planning, and also personal counseling. We're here to support your students, whatever their post-secondary plans are, whether they're possibly considering a 2-year trade school or vocational school, a 4-year college, the military, a gap year. We're here to help in every aspect, whatever that pathway may be. We like to think about helping our students be successful at Homestead and do what they need to graduate from Homestead and graduate to their next amazing chapter of their life. So I'm one of 5 counselors. Molly Navarre works with all of our freshmen. And then Jenny Appleby joined our team this year. She has the beginning part of the alphabet for last names. Lauren Schaefer has the middle part of the alphabets for last names. And I have the end of the alphabet last names, sophomore, juniors, and seniors. And Chris Bessler works with all of our AVID students. We also have on our student services team a school psychologist, Mary Beth Sesselman, and a social emotional coach, Terry Carr. And Mr. Matt Wolf is our academic and career planning coordinator, can help students navigate the possibilities for the Ozaki Youth Apprenticeship Program and talk more about careers. So please reach out to us and utilize our expertise in many different areas like that when we can support your students. I'm going to talk a little bit about the college advising timeline and some important things that are coming up this year. This slide is going to kind of preview things that I'll talk a little bit more in depth as we go through the program. But communication with your student is really important at this time, asking open-ended questions. I know it's hard getting them to talk, but you can ask open-ended questions like, tell me about things you're learning in your classes right now that you're enjoying, and just having those conversations and starting them now to think about some of their interests, their passions, possibly their career goals, things that they enjoy doing. College visits, I'll talk more in depth about that, but we really encourage students and families to do that in person or virtually to learn more about colleges. When students narrow down that list, they can get a chance to feel what that campus might be like, to see if it's a fit for them or a match for them, not only in academic programs, but also the community, the culture, social life, research opportunities, community service, clubs and organizations, all of those types of things that are really important in the learning and living experience on a college campus. I'll talk to you a little bit about the ACT. College admission representatives visiting Homestead. They love our students. They know that our students are very driven, high achieving students that are well-rounded. Most of our students are involved in 2, 3, 4 activities, whether that's athletics, the fine arts program, the drama program, music band, choir, orchestra. Many of our students are involved in many clubs and leadership roles, do community service, and also some of them work. So we do have hundreds of college representatives visiting Homestead High School right now. So I'm going to teach you where your students can be aware of that. And we also will talk to students about how they can come talk to those admissions reps to ask questions, learn more about programs that are pertinent and relevant to them. And then also they get a chance to have like a mutual meet with a college admissions representative. I'm also going to talk to you about using Naviance Student as a resource. It's helping in the college search and exploration, careers, and we also have a new tool this year called Zello that's helping all of our student body learn more about their strengths, their skills, their passions and interests to kind of help them guide in the academic and career planning process. Top priorities for our juniors this year: taking challenging courses and earning strong grades in those courses this year. Prepare for and take that ACT. Maybe in December or February. Our students all will take the ACT in March. Wisconsin is an ACT state mandated state, and so our students have the opportunity to do that. Keep in mind that all of the classes that they are taking right now at Homestead are preparing them for the ACT. Also keep in mind that all of our juniors did have an opportunity and took the pre-ACT. We will be going over their pre-ACT results with them in December when we have some small group meetings, and we'll be guiding them in the process then about using that test, pre-ACT test results to help inform their planning and their preparation for the ACT that they'll take at Homestead in March. Another thing to keep in mind is one day at a time. We really emphasize to our students and families the importance of wellness and balance, and students taking care of themselves in all aspects of their life. So I mentioned junior small group meetings. That gives us an opportunity to extend our curriculum working with juniors in some small groups the week of December 18th. It's a little bit later this year because of the way our trimester schedule falls. Our students will be taking exams in the first part of December. We really felt it was important for them to transition and kind of get a taste for their trimester 2 classes and be settled in those before we took them out of class for one period to be able to work with them in small groups. We intentionally work with all students who do have a study hall first, and they'll be missing a study hall December 18th, 19th, or 20th to meet with us about academic and career planning. And then those that don't have a study hall, will pull them out of one class to be able to go over that curriculum with them about what's next. Last year as sophomores, we really enjoyed having a chance to get to know your students and talk with them about their interests, their passions, their classes, what they do for co-curricular, things that are priorities in their life, all kinds of things like that we got a chance to talk to them. Their courses they wanted to take this year, answered questions and things like that. So this year we'll meet with them again in December. They will have a resource folder with information. So sometime over winter break or in early January, you can ask them about like, hey, where's that resource folder that you got at your school counseling, junior small group workshops? Lots of information will be in there. We only have one class period to work with those students in academic and career planning. And we also know that we want that meeting and that time to be productive with them and active. So they will be doing some activities as well. So we're not going to go over everything in the folder with them, but they'll have that readily available to go through it and, look for things as they need it in the folder. Zello is a new tool we're using for academic and career planning with all of our students, grade 9, 10, 11, 12. Each student in our building will have between 4 and 6 different lessons this year that we roll out on late start dates in a homeroom classroom. That time is like 12:30 to 1. And all students then go to their homeroom and do like the next activity to help them learn more about and go on that pathway for academic and career planning. We want students to use those results then in course selection, activities they may be involved in, or something piques their interest in about health sciences that maybe then they take a couple of other classes like anatomy and physiology, like our human body systems class. Maybe they get involved in HOSA or GEMS, Girls Exploring Math and Science. So some of those things they're doing in Zello are going to help them to make very intentional choices moving forward in courses, activities, maybe jobs, things like that. We will explore careers in college in Naviance. The students will also do a career interest survey that will help guide them moving forward. We teach them about using Methodize, which is a free resource for all of our students to help them prepare for the ACT. It helps them in English, math, reading, and science. They have lessons, quizzes, 2 free practice tests that students can take the test on the computer, and then they're automatically going to get their score back, which will help them intentionally then practice that if I do well in English and reading, I may not spend my time then preparing, and I'm going to spend more time practicing in math and science or something like that. Methodize is free. It's totally confidential. Students will have access in creating their own account as a portal to practice. We've found that students can really benefit from that type of practice because it helps them to feel calm and confident in the types of questions they're going to be exposed to on the ACT. And they also have practice with pacing and timing. In Naviance, there's also a section for a college super match, helping students to identify priorities that are important to them and put those criteria in the super match. And then Naviance will do the work and generate a college list based on those factors. For example, a student might put in, I'm interested in schools in the Midwest. I'm interested in health sciences or engineering, or they could put communication or business. I'm looking for women's soccer, and I'm interested in community service, something like that. There's all kinds of criteria that students can put in, anything from GPA and selectivity to ACT scores and competitiveness, to Greek life and a school newspaper or radio show. Naviance then will generate the list on what colleges would be a match for them then. And then students can explore those colleges and decide if they're interested in that type of a school. So all kinds of resources and information activities we're going to do with those students in December. In January, our school moves into course registration month. And that is a time when all of us are really involved. And it's an exciting time in that students are beginning to take a look at what am I thinking about taking for the next year. We do invite all students and families to kind of dig into the course guide. That course guide is always posted on our counseling website, on our Homestead homepage. And during our registration rollout, Mr. Ebert will give a presentation first part of January. We also will have a homeroom where students will be directed to take a look at the curriculum guide, which gives great descriptions and explanations about what is a certain course like. We may know about cybersecurity, but we may not know exactly what's taught in cybersecurity class. Same thing with like intro to business, or I mentioned human body systems. What's the difference between intro to statistics and AP statistics, that kind of thing. All kinds of really good information is in that course guide, and we invite students and families to dig in there. Students will have the month of January to talk at home with families, guardians, obviously talk to their teachers about what is going to be the best match or the next step for them to progress in a certain department, whether it's math, English, science, computers, world language, what's going to be the best match for me. We really encourage students to have those conversations with teachers. We're available as counselors, administrators, coaches. I mean, our whole staff is really involved in those conversations for registration. Students do enter all of their courses in Infinite Campus in their academic planning tool by January 31st. Our counseling team does meet with all students, and they do have a course registration sheet. So there'll be a sheet identifying what are the graduation requirements by that class and what's typical for that class, for that student to take during that grade level. On the back of that sheet, then there's a list of all kinds of electives for students to choose from to round out their schedule, in addition to those core classes that they take for English, math, social studies, science, maybe world language, music, computers, business, arts, and so on. We really try to emphasize the idea of using some of their interests and passions in supporting their post-secondary goals. So I mentioned earlier, maybe engineering. So I might want to explore classes that we offer in PLTW classes for Project Lead the Way, Intro to Engineering or Principles of Engineering, to meet some of those goals that I might have in the engineering field. In addition, if I'm interested in health science, identify courses that would match me following that pathway to reach those post-secondary goals and help me to have a strong foundation when I graduate, stepping into that world in college to feel confident and prepared to do that. We're available. We meet with students all January to answer questions, share resources, direct them to the course guide. We really encourage students to have a manageable schedule and a meaningful schedule. So courses that they want to take and need to take and are also matching some of their personal and professional goals, but also manageable. Do they have some classes in there that are fun? Are they taking a study hall if they need to? Those kinds of things too. We know kids that are happy and healthy are doing well in their classes. So some updates on the ACT. Hundreds of colleges and universities, keep in mind, are still test optional. So we know, for example, all of the UW system colleges and universities right now are test optional through the spring of 2025, which is a little bit a conundrum, I guess, for the junior students and families, because we certainly don't know about those rising seniors or juniors right now that are going to be applying a year from now to enroll in college in the fall of 2025. As soon as we have more information from any of those colleges and universities, we'll be sure to share. But we always emphasize that the college websites do offer the most current, accurate, up-to-date information about their test optional policies. You can also go online too and look at any college admissions page to find that out. Or you can go to fairtest.com and it'll have an entire list of test optional colleges and universities in our country. So colleges and universities truly do recognize that the strongest indicator if a student's going to be successful in college is their high school transcript. So that's the number one thing that they're looking at, the level of rigor they take, courses, grades, credits, the depth and breadth that they were willing to take in a department or a focus. But also, we know that an ACT or an SAT score can also be a strong addition to help distinguish a student in a competitive application pool for sure. All of our juniors will take the state ACT mandate test March 19th, 2024. It's an official test offered at our Homestead location. It's very comfortable for our students to take it. They're in their school environment. They're working with people that they know, our teaching staff, and it is an official test. Juniors do not need to register for that test, that they will be checking their emails in January. Homestead will be rolling out ACT prep for our juniors. Mr. Ebert normally sends that communication out for students and families to sign up. It is typically after school. Our teaching staff does the ACT prep for all the English, math, reading, science, and so on. Methodize is a very useful tool for our students to use that. It's free, it's online, and students can access that whenever they have access to an internet. Naviance Student is a fantastic resource. It's free. Parents can also email your student's school counselor to also have an account and be linked on your student's Naviance account. You can also email me and I'll connect you to your student's page. But it can be a helpful site for students to start exploring careers in college, do a super match. Student surveys are there. They do have a college I'm thinking about tab that students can heart a college, and it will be saved in an electronic file of a list of schools that I just might be thinking about and keeping on my radar. They have scattergrams that help our students to identify if a school is a reach school for them, if it's a target school that they're meeting the GPA and average ACT score, or if it's a school that I'm pretty much going to get into. So those scattergrams are helpful. One thing to keep in mind, though, that a scattergram is only showing 2 data points, an unweighted GPA and an ACT score for those for that particular college. It doesn't speak to the level of rigor that a student was taking, and it doesn't speak to the holistic aspect that many of our colleges and universities are going to in the application review. When I talk about a holistic review, that means that colleges and universities are looking at many aspects in that application. Student academic transcript being the #1 top thing, potentially an ACT or an SAT score, but they could choose to go test optional. A college personal essay is becoming more important for a student to have a voice and share a story, share their celebrations and accomplishments, share with the college or university how they've really overcome a challenge or an adversity that they faced during high school. Highlight some of their clubs and organizations, their activities and co-curriculars, other responsibilities they have, their work, teacher letter recommendations. And so they take a holistic view when they're doing the college admissions application. What's new tab on the Naviance student page, it's on the front page. There's a list of college representatives that come to Homestead to answer questions and share updates with our students about that college and university. It's a really helpful opportunity, I would say, an experience for our students to get a chance to be face-to-face with college representative people to ask questions, whether it's about majors or sports programs or opportunities to study abroad. How soon can they start doing internships or experiential type of work at that college or university? So that can be very helpful. Also on the college tab of Naviance is a scholarship list that can be helpful for students and families navigating that. We invite students and families to take college visits whenever it's appropriate and fits in student schedules. It's important for students to kind of get their boots on the ground sort of and get an idea of the feel of a campus. What's the culture feel like? The student body, sit in a class, eat in a dining hall, check out a residential hall, check out the fitness center, talk to students, sit in on panels, take a tour, take an official tour. We do invite students and families to visit in person if you can. And when they are in session. It's always like the best indicator of a college. But it is a great opportunity for our students to get a real feel and start comparing schools in terms of fit. We can get a lot of information online. I liken it to the idea of those, like I can get ideas of houses, and when I search online and I can see all the criteria and I can get a glimpse of it. But when I go in that house on a home tour, I really get a feel for it. And that's the idea for a campus visit too. It's going to be their home maybe for the next 4 or 5 years. So we want it to be important for their learning environment and also their living environment and engaging in all types of opportunities that those colleges and universities offer to our students. You can always register online when you're visiting. Any admissions page is going to have a visit tab, and you can do that. And you can always kind of create or ask for specific things too. Ask questions and ask for what you want to see when you're on that campus tour. It's really important for you to remember to breathe and remember that you're not alone in this process. Supporting students in academic and career planning and in general, just growing up takes a village, and we are here to help you. Always feel free to reach out to our counseling staff. We're really here to help you. We work with your students all the time, but please feel free to reach out to us. We can share resources, answer questions. Sometimes we may not have the answer, but we can point you in the right direction. If it's an NCAA question, we can get you started and then we'll send more information along. But encourage your student also to stop in and make an appointment with us to kind of check in. After we have those small group junior meetings in December, oftentimes we will check in with your students at the end of December or January to talk to them about their specific questions, like what's coming up for them, and then also support them in registering for courses then for their senior year. Post-secondary planning is a process, so we're not going to do this like in one lump sum or one session. So it is one step at a time. If your students right now are trying their best and doing well in their trimester 1 classes, and they are healthy and happy, getting good sleep, involved in meaningful co-curricular activities and they're happy, they're on the right track. But we do know that our kids that are coming to school regularly and consistently are happy, healthy. Those are students that are ready to learn and engage, and they're thriving at Homestead. We will also have a junior spring update with your students before the end of the school year, connecting with them about next steps in between junior year and the senior year in the summer. We do offer college application workshops in August. They'll get information about that in June or July, that they can come to a college application workshop with us in August, and we'll help them wherever they are in that process. At that junior spring update, we also guide them in the process for asking for a letter of recommendation and talking to a teacher before the end of junior year, usually in May or June, asking them to write a letter of recommendation for them. So we touch base again with your juniors in the spring as well. That's all I have right now. I could pass it over to Matt, or if there's questions.
Matt, did you have anything in particular that you wanted to potentially add?
Sure. A few things. First off, I just want to say Sarah and the rest of the counseling department, they are wonderful people and
Thank you.
always put students first, and just a great group of people to work with from my standpoint, and I know from the parent standpoint. So absolutely reach out to them. They will get you to the right person or get an answer for you. So I do appreciate them. Just a few things from my end. I just want to talk about the merit award real quick, because there was a slight change to that this year, and that is with the volunteer hours. Last year was my first year at Homestead, and I had the distinct opportunity to be the administrator that oversees the merit award. So I had several questions about volunteer hours and what's allowed. And in the end, I think it was absolutely appropriate for us to allow for volunteer hours outside of the MTSD. So we are allowing, again, it's still 10 total volunteer hours, but we are allowing 5 flex hours now. So what does that mean? That means that students can do 5 hours within the MTSD. They can do 10 hours within the MTSD, but if they want to do 5 of the 10 outside, that's to an organization of their choice, then they can absolutely do that. I just want to say I'm also a resource to you as a parent. I can answer questions on policy, attendance questions, exam exemptions. That comes up quite a bit as we get closer to the end of the trimesters. Problem solving, pure conflicts, you name it. I can help you with that or get you to the right person, and certainly to whoever you need to connect with. If needed, if I'm not immediately available, our student handbook is located on our Homestead website, so you can always access that if you're looking for an immediate answer. It's always on our website. If you're looking to connect with me, if you call me or email me, I will always get back to you. My goal is to, within 24 hours, depending on how busy the day is for me. But we very much enjoy partnering with our parents, and let me know how I can help you when the time comes. And I say that because I'm sure there will be a time where you need a question answered or help with something. And I just want you to know that we are here for the kids. We are here for you as the parents, and certainly enjoy working with you. And I will say that this is my second year at Homestead, and I absolutely love it. It's a great school, great families to work with, great kids. We have a school of 1,200 kids, and by and large, it's just they are great. So appreciate what you are doing as parents with your children. But if there's any questions, I'd be happy to answer.
Thank you, Matt. And thank you, Sarah, so much for all of this great information. And I'm sure for new junior parents, it can be a little overwhelming. So knowing that you're available as a resource is amazing. I also want to let the parents know that we will be publishing the PowerPoint presentation that Sarah was just going through in our next short kilts. So that will be in your hands so you can reference it as you're going back to kind of think about what was it that she said about this, or what might that be? So you'll at least have a reference point there. Gina, I didn't mean to shame you with your penny Gudex. I felt bad when I see that you changed it, but impressive. You got it figured out. Good for you. If there are any questions, feel free to just unmute and ask, or of course, you can put something in the chat and Roberta and I will make sure it gets surfaced. So there's got to be questions out there. The other thing I will tell you that I personally found helpful with my older son was talking to other parents that have been through it. So already, like, things change and evolve, but getting kind of the ear of another parent who's had a kid go through the junior and or senior year already can be a helpful resource for you as well. It was for me anyway.
Well, I just want to comment and say that, like, just the assistance in helping my children find a college, like, way to go, Homestead. I felt like, as someone who didn't know what they wanted to be when they grew up, and it took until I was 39, it's just amazing to see what's available now. I actually have a junior who is absolutely sure he thinks what he wants to be, and I'm just curious, and I just want to ask, like, sometimes we get these emails from people who are like college advisors, and like, is that necessary? Is Homestead able to provide the assistance to him in finding the right fit, for, he wants to be a film composer, for example, and finding the right school? Like, I love the idea of Naviance and that college super match, but I was hearing like the unweighted GPA and ACT and not taking into consideration rigor, like, as being kind of like that negative part of that. I don't know. I'm just wondering, like, for a student who absolutely knows what they want to do, should there be a little more that they do, or should they be sharing more with their advisor?
Good question. I would say for your student to definitely make an appointment with their school counselor and start with that. It's a partnership in supporting a student with helping them identify the tools and resource that's available to learn about certain colleges, universities that might have that specific major. And so definitely a conversation with the counselor to find out where they are and how we can help in that process. We feel that you don't need any outside college counselors. We're available all the time. But if you feel that you have specific needs to have additional support for that, we also understand that too. We liken it to the idea that we all can exercise and work, and we know what we can do to work out. If I feel that I need a personal trainer for my specific individual needs, then that's what I'm going to go do and get that. Our team is available though, and can guide you and your student every aspect of the process. We typically also have those individual sophomore conferences and then junior small group meetings, but our counselors are certainly available for junior meetings with the family or parents to kind of have some of those questions answered and really specific things. This is like a general presentation, but our team is definitely available, anytime for a family meeting if that's needed, whether it's about college or careers, or it's something else, mental health, or, personal things like that, academic advising. We're here.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
One of the senior moms last year recommended that we set up a separate email account when you're starting to look at schools, because I think the guidance was that some places will like sell your information or whatever, so your inbox will get bombarded with lots and lots and lots and lots of email. So that was one recommendation. I just thought I'd share it. I don't know, what the degree actually is. We have to get going on all of that yet, but that's my little share from past people. So
Thank you.
I have a quick question. I'm confused on Zello and Naviance. When to use which? I'm not connected to either one of them on my son's account, and I'm not certain when to use each one.
Good question. So Zello is a platform that all of our student body, grades 9, 10, 11, 12, are using to gain more information about academic and career planning in identified very specific lessons rolled out by Zello in the homerooms. We might be going to Zello for everything, but right now Naviance is our preferred platform for juniors and seniors because it allows us to send confidential documents, the transcripts, letters of recommendation, school reports, our profile directly to colleges and universities through Naviance. So that's why we really have both right now. We also feel that there's some features in Zello that are a little bit stronger in supporting students in that exploration of who they are, their learning styles, their preferences, their interests, things like that. And then we also think that Naviance is a little stronger in some other areas of some things. So our juniors and seniors right now have both.
Yes. Okay.
And we need Naviance right now because it is the best platform we have right now for sending very confidential documents very efficiently and quickly. Zello can do some, but they can't do all. And so then that would force us to be sending some of those documents through Zello and then potentially mailing some or things like that. But we're hoping maybe Zello will improve, and they have shown growth. But right now we're utilizing both platforms for a little bit of each for supporting our students in the best way that we can.
Perfect. That helps. Thank you.
Sure.
Good question, Linda. Thanks for bringing that up because it can get very confusing.
Is there a parent log on for Zello?
No, I was just going to say, if you're going to be active in anything, let your student be exploring Zello and show you, say, hey, I'm really curious about this Zello platform for you to look at, learning about yourself and academic and career planning. And then you get a link from your student's counselor to look onto Naviance and take a peek in there and explore colleges and their colleges I'm applying to list and, the scattergrams and the super match. And so I would recommend that for now. And this is our first year with Zello. So we're learning along with it. And so far, all the homerooms have been very positive, I would say, and productive. The kids have really utilized it. But ask your student, say, hey, show me what Zello's on, or what do you got going on in Zello?
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sarah.
Thank you.
This is very informative. Wonderful. Thank you. Matt, I have a couple questions, skipping ahead to senior year, and maybe not all the junior parents know that. Can you explain a little bit about senior privilege and also like exemptions for is that for the final trimester of senior year? I have a senior and a junior, and I think maybe some of the junior parents might be interested in if the students start talking about senior privilege.
Sure. Without having the policy right in front of me, I could give you the gist of it. So senior privilege, really, it's if I don't have the GPA exact amount, but if they have a good GPA, solid GPA, and they have a study center in their schedule, and this could be a first period study center, or it could be a fifth period, they could then leave or not come to school until they have a class. But they have to have a good enough GPA in order to do that. Again, I don't have it right in front of me, but Mr. Navarre is the one who is the one that guides them to do that. So if there are specific questions regarding getting signed up for that, he would be the one to reach out to, and he could do that. As far as the exam exemption, I believe it is the last trimester of the senior year where they would have that, seniors would have that exemption for all their finals. But until we get to that point, they would have an opportunity, students would have an opportunity, depending on our criteria, to exempt an exam every trimester if they meet the criteria.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I remember last year when my oldest was a junior, and I walked into the office like right at 7:25. No, wait, no, it was like 8:30 or something. There was like this whole slew of students just coming in, and I'm like, what is going on? It's like a field trip. And then Linda in the office is like, no, senior privilege, you know, and they're like, yep, and they go. I'm like, what is that?
Yeah,
So,
and they have to wait until the bell rings for second period, then they're allowed to go into the building. So
okay.
yeah, absolutely.
So something fun for the juniors to look forward to.
Yeah, it's a good incentive to do well in their classes, and if they're doing well, then yeah, they don't have to be in a study center.
Great, thank you.
Well, I think our PTSO meeting is like 2 minutes away, and I should probably hop over to that. I want to thank you again for taking the time to meet with all of these wonderful parents tonight, to learn more about the junior year, because it's a little daunting, a little intimidating to be thinking about college prep and so forth. So thank you for taking more time to spend with us. We really appreciate the partnership with our staff and counseling and principals. So thank you so much. And I think the rule of thumb here is parents just reach out for questions. Counseling has been very responsive in my experience to any questions that we have. And so don't hesitate to reach out for questions and help.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. And hopefully we'll see you on the PTSO meeting. Thanks again, Sarah and Matt.
Yeah, you're
Thank
welcome.
you for having us. You're welcome. Have a good night.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes,
Bye-bye.
please join. We're going to discuss mini grants tonight. So please join us on the call.
All right.
Thank you.